Good afternoon. I'd like to call the June 30th, 2015 Public Works Committee meeting to order. First order of business is roll call and determination of quorum. Brenda, if you would.
Estes. Here. Doyle.
Here.
Roberts. Here. Scott. Nordstrom. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next order of business is to adopt the agenda. Are there any changes or additions? Okay, we have a motion to adopt and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the agenda? Thank you. Hearing no opposition, we will consider the agenda adopted. Now is the time for general public comment. Time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to this committee on any issue not limited to items on the agenda. Action will not, however, be taken at this meeting on any issue not on the agenda except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the aldermen present. I have no speaker request forms or general comment. Have I missed anybody? Is that for an actual item, agenda item? Okay. So I'll go ahead and close general public comment then. Thank you, Tim. Okay. Moving on to public comment for consent items 1 through 26. We will now open that, and I have one speaker request from John Samuelson for item number 20. Please, if you would approach the podium. State your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Just John Samuelson with Copperidge. I guess I just wanted to be available if there was questions or at the time when it came up for discussion.
For your item.
So, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Seeing no other speaker request forms, we'll consider public comment now closed. Would any alderman like to remove an item from the consent calendar at this point? And we'll go to, actually we'll go to John Roberts, not Ron Weifenbach, but.
Yeah. Number 6, please.
Number 6. Any else? I think we would like to remove items 19 through 21 as well. If there aren't any others to be removed, I'd look for a motion to adopt the consent calendar, the balance. I have a motion to adopt the consent calendar with the exception of items 6, 19, 20, and 21. And I have a second by Nordstrom. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Consent calendar is adopted. Moving on to item number 6, which is a change order number 7 to Skull Construction Service, Inc. for Canyon Lake Dam reconstruction for a decrease of $719,551.59. And we'll go to Alderman Roberts, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question for Terry Waldersdorf real quick. Terry, could you give a rundown on this change order since it's so huge of what's being cut out of this project?
We'll defer to the city engineer, Dale Tech.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The largest item in here is about $500,000 in grouting, and that had to do with the construction of the spillway. There was a curtain wall that was put in, and then they did some high pressure grouting. That quantity was much less than was anticipated, so that's the lion's share of this large change order. Keep in mind, we also had a fairly large increase early on in the project due to the water management. I think that was in the neighborhood of $400,000. So overall, we were, I believe, just a little over budget on the project. We've also removed the sediment removal out of this contract, and further down in today's agenda, you'll see 2 items related to potential dredging and trucking of that sediment as a separate project.
Thank you very much, Dale. That answers my questions.
Okay, currently there's no motion on the floor for this item.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Estes and a second by John to approve. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving motion number or item number 6?
Aye.
All opposed? That was funny. Okay. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to And if we could, I think we'll just take items 19 through 21 together because it's the same question, and I'll go ahead and field that. These are all to authorize staff to purchase different equipment through a National Joint Powers Alliance contract. And the question that's been buzzing amongst many council members is, why is this not being competitively bid? And I'll direct that question to our Public Works Director, Mr. Wolterstorff.
Thank you. The National Joint Powers Alliance is basically more of a national organization that does competitive bidding of supplies and equipment. So when you say that these haven't been competitively bid, that's not necessarily accurate. They are competitively bid. Purchasing through this does meet the bidding requirements by state law, and City of Rapid City, most municipalities, state of South Dakota, are all members of this National Joint Powers Alliance. Essentially, the other alternative to going this route is to put a bid package together. We specify usually around a particular piece of equipment that we like, and we usually tend to write our specs around that piece of equipment. And the reality is, a lot of times we end up speccing out certain equipment because there's certain components of some equipment that we don't feel meet our needs. So we try to specify the exact equipment that we like and that we have a good track record with. So to be honest with you, it's just another way of acquiring equipment that is going to be supplied by a local supplier. So it's not like we're buying this equipment and spending these dollars with an outside company out of Nebraska or Minnesota somewhere. So still purchased locally, and it is through although a different competitive bid process, it's still competitively bid.
Looks like we have some discussion. We'll go to Alderman Nordstrom, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If it's all right, can we combine it into one motion, or you need 3 separate motions?
I think that would be okay for today. Yes.
I'll move to approve 19 to authorize staff to purchase 2 skid loaders in the amount of $102,000 using the NJPA contract. And if I may, Madam Chair?
You did say you wanted to take the 3 of them together, however, and your motion only indicates just the 2 pieces of
I heard you
equipment for item
differently.
number 19.
Okay. And then the part 2 of this motion would be authorize staff to purchase 1 end loader in the amount of $273,500 using the NJPA. And part 3 is to authorize staff to purchase 1 end loader in the amount of $374,750, again using the NJPA contract.
Thank you.
In my second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Second is good. You may carry it. You still have the floor, Mr. Nordstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've had a little experience with using these contracts. Most of us are familiar with using the South Dakota bid contracts for mostly vehicles, and then we also have the use for, I believe the correct acronym is called WISCA, and we've used it through other departments within the city. And then this is another one that we've had the opportunity to use. And again, I've got a little experience with these, and they seem to be very good and very fair, and the price is very good on these as well. So I hope the rest of the council will support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a motion on the floor to approve items 19 through 21 and a second. And any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to non-consent items. So just so you know, Mr. Samuelson, your item number 20, you're good with the changes that were made. So obviously there were no questions for you. Thank you for coming today, though.
His is 28. Yeah.
Oh, 20 on here. That's okay. That's okay. We're flexible up here, not a problem. Okay, opening up the floor for public comment for non-consent items, items number 27 through 28. Mr. Samuelson has indicated, now that we have the right number, that he's here to speak on item number 28, answer questions if necessary. I have no other speaker request form, so we'll close public comment for non-consent items 27 through 28. Move to item number 27, which is the Standing Committee on Sustainability Annual Report with Eric Heikus, whom I do not see in the room. Could I have a motion to forward to council without recommendation, please?
So moved. Second.
Was that for me? Oh, wow, okay.
Is it going to be back Monday?
Why don't we just, if we could, just change the motion to continue this to the next Public Works meeting
That
instead?
was my original motion.
Great, we have a motion by Mr. Estes to continue to the next Public Works meeting and a second by Nordstrom. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now, item number 28 is to approve with staff stipulations the exception request to waive the requirement to construct a portion of Eagle Ridge Drive as it abuts proposed Tract 1 of Copper Ridge subdivision.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Roberts, a second by Estes, and we'll go to Alderman Estes for discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank everybody for getting back together and taking a look at this and working it out, and I feel good about this. I'll support this. Thanks.
Any further discussion? We do have a motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Mr. Nordstrom is getting ahead of himself. We do have a motion to adjourn. And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are done at 12:51. Thank you, everybody.